let me take you back to last year, 2023, where I like to sometimes watch health podcasts or health YouTube channels, and the old algorithm of YouTube kicks in and then brings out videos you might like to watch. And one channel that came up was Lily Kane, and she was doing Carnivore. So of course I was watching it, and I'm thinking, this seems quite interesting, but we've been told all this time that we shouldn't be eating that amount of meat. Not good for you. All the saturated fat in there is just going to clog your arteries, and you're just going to end up having a heart attack or a stroke or something. But it's still quite fascinating, of course, and listen to all the health improvements she's had and that. And of course, other channels started cropping up, carnivore ones, seeing the same sort of story, and it's like, maybe I'll keep it in the back of my mind, but nah. So that year again, so 23 July, I got bit on the ankle by a horsefly. And within a couple of days, it got really infected, and a really big sort of infection. It was like that around my ankle, all red and everything. So I ended up going to the doctors, of course, and got an appointment straight away. I thought it was quite strange, especially when you've got to wait. But I got in and thought just going to get prescribed antibiotics and off I go. And yeah, but no, that's not what happened. So they were doing their usual checks like they do. One of them, of course, being your blood pressure. And while she was taking my blood pressure, she had quite a concerned look on her face. So I'm going to take it a few more times. Okay. By the end of it, she was like, I'm going to prescribe you some blood pressure tablets as well. Your blood pressure is way high. It was 225 over 115. Yeah, okay. Now I can see why you're prescribing me blood pressure tablets. That was deadly high. They prescribed me 2.5 milligrams of Ramapol. Off I went. Got home. I was quite upset when I got home. Something I've always worried about in the back of my mind, having high blood pressure or heart problem or heart attacks and things like that. My dad had a heart attack when he was 55, so I think it's always just been sort of sitting in the back of my mind. But then I decided I'm going to go carnivore. I'm going to give it a go. Everything I've heard, more and more feeds were coming up on my YouTube, and I'm like, I'm just going to give it a go. What have I got to lose? Either it's going to improve, going to help bring my blood pressure back down, get my weight down, get me healthier, or nothing's really going to change, and I'm just going to have to try and eat healthily and cut out all the rubbish, the junk food and that. So my journey starts. Before we continue on that carnivore journey, of course, I went back to the doctors a week later and did a check if it improved, and it didn't touch it. Still exactly the same. So putting up to 5 milligrams of Ramapol. Again, week pass, go back, check how it is, and it had dropped a bit, but still high. But it was 150 over about 95, roughly around that area. So there was concern about the diastolic number, the lower number. So I thought, well, I'll put you on a second one. So I was on 2 blood pressure tablets, 5 milligrams of that one. So yeah, again, a week later, go back, and things have not got quite to your normal 120 over 80 yet. I was sitting at about 130 over 95 again. So it sort of give you a month. They knew that I was losing weight and I was doing something to change my lifestyle. I didn't tell them that I was on carnivore, but they knew I was doing something. So let's give you a month, see if it goes down a bit naturally on its own, and we'll go from there. So I started eating generally beef steak, sometimes some pork steak. I was having some salady bits still, so peppers, cucumber were generally what I was eating with that. But I found before I was eating, your breakfast, a snack, lunch, another stack, and your dinner. My my appetite just pretty much went straight away. I was eating twice a day, just having my steak, my egg, my bits of salad, and that's how I was. And I just wasn't hungry. It's just crazy for me at the time when the amount of food I was eating before to what I'm eating now. Um, so the month passed. Went back to the doctors. They checked. I was pretty much there. I wasn't quite there. I was sort of like, 125 over 90, dropping into the higher 80s, 88 and stuff. But he was I was like, it is going down, and hopefully it'll continue going down. But I think in his eyes, he wanted it to get down more rapidly. So he didn't ramp up my Ramapol up to 10 milligrams. That did, as the months went by, drop me into the safe zone as such. So the other improvements, of course, through this journey was, of course, the weight loss. So within 4 or 5 months, I had gone from 251 pounds to 214. So I had lost 37 pounds altogether within that 4 or 5 month window. Crazy, because back in my early 30s, because I'm 44 now, I had some mental health problems, and it lasted for 3 years. And in that 3 years, I'd gone into a health kick then. But of course, I just cut out all the rubbish, the sugary foods, the donuts, the pizzas, and all the ultra processed foods, and was just eating more healthy. But of course, still some carbs in my diet. Your rice, your pastas, your potatoes. And it took me roughly a year and a half to lose what I lost, 4 or 5 months. Plus, while I was doing the carnivore, I didn't change my exercise routine. I wasn't doing a great deal. I was doing a few jogs in the morning, about 3 times a week, and going out on my dog walks. And I purposely didn't want to change that because I wanted to see if the diet itself was going to help me lose the weight and give me all these health improvements that I'll go through a list in a minute. Where back in my 30s, when I did my little stint then, I was cycling, jogging, doing yoga, doing HIIT classes, and just blew my mind that in my early 40s, I lost all this weight within blink of an eye, you can almost say. But the other health improvements I got were, of course, my blood pressure improved, of course, through that. My eyesight. So when I do take my dogs out in the morning, I don't generally wear my glasses. I go an hour before I put them on. But I was finding as the months went by that, can I see a bit clearly? Sort of almost double take, or am I just imagining it? But I did have my eye tests booked when I was around the 4 or 5 month mark of doing carnivore. And when I went there, my eyesight improved. I thought, wow, it's strange. But okay. My gums used to bleed quite a lot. That had all cleared away. Sleeping improved, and I could record that with my smartwatch. So I normally wear that in bed to get my sleep score. And before I was in the higher 70s, 76, 78 was my score. Probably crept in the 80s once in a while. For within like a month or so, 88, 92, 95. My sleep had well improved. And of course, I was getting up with energy. I was waking up with energy. I wasn't waking up thinking, I want to stay in bed for a bit longer. I don't really want to get up. I'm like, boop, jumping out of bed. Crazy. Toilet as well. I used to wake up, go to the toilet in the evening. It could be once, sometimes twice, but it was generally once. Definitely once every day. I was getting up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet. That all gone away. My heart rate as well. Probably naturally with my health improvements. My resting heart rate was around the lower 70s, 72, 74, and it was dropping down to 62, 58, that area. Well improved. And of course, blood flow. So blood flow to fingers, hands, yeah, astonishing the changes within that 4 or 5 months, and still going even after a year. I'm still on some of those blood pressure tablets, but slowly getting off them, and being as high as it was might just take a long time for me to heal, especially when I've been eating not the greatest diet all my life. But yeah, it's getting there, and it's not a sprint; it's a marathon. So slowly, as the months, years go by, and it's been a year and 1 month now. Um, yeah, I could just keep seeing improvements, as I go on. But that takes me to now why we've been lied to all this time. My experience, and probably a lot of you know, your experiences. I feel like that going to the doctors is like going to the supermarket. Next customer, off you come. You got diabetes. Here's some medication. Off you go. Next customer. Oh, you've got high blood pressure. Here you go. Here's some medication. That's not being a doctor anymore. They're there as a business now. I feel like we're not a patient anymore. We're a customer. You know, they just want their money. Um, how are they improving your health by prescribing you medication? It's just masking the symptoms of the problem of what you got, if it's high blood pressure or diabetes or etc. Um, Whatever happened to the days where they worked with the patient and change your diet, change your lifestyle, and don't eat this anymore because that's probably causing your blood pressure problems or you having diabetes. There's no help. You just pill, off you go. And it's almost like a chain of businesses. You've got the sugar companies and ultra processed food companies all feeding you this stuff you shouldn't be eating. You look at the ingredients of some of these ultra processed foods, emulsifiers and preservatives and all this other gums and bits that are in there. And of course, they pump sugar in their food, make it palatable, make you want to come back for more. It's repeat business, just like, you're buying a car from somewhere, they want you to come back when you buy your next car. So, eat this food. We want you to come back. It's going to taste amazing. Keep coming back. Keep eating more. Yeah, and then all those things slowly, as you get older, are making you ill without you knowing. And then all of a sudden, you've got hypertension like I have, diabetes or cancer or whatever. And you go to the doctors. Here's a tablet. Helps pay the pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, just the chain of businesses. It's all about the money. It's not about your health anymore. And I've learned that you need to take control of your own health. It's all down to you what you can do. And with everything I've learned this last year, studies I've read, looked at, you don't need carbs in your diet. You don't need carbs. You look at the food pyramid, carbs and grains and bread and all that carby food is your foundation. Doesn't sound right. Then you've got your plants and your veg and all that. And then you've got your meat at the top. That's minuscule. No. Flip it round. Flip it round. Your meat should be your foundation. Your protein, your animal foods is your foundation. It's what you should be eating the most. Yeah, you can dip into a few plant foods and that, but you just need to be careful because there's enough, again, research out there that a lot of them have oxalates in them. Unhealthy, not good for you, causing inflammation and things. And of course, carbs should be at the top. Should be the last thing you should think about eating. If you do eat some, just make sure it's potatoes and rice and things like that, but minuscule. We're talking 50 milligrams max. 20 grams, around that figure. Do not want to eat too many carbohydrates. You just don't need it. Don't need it at all. A lot of my friends I talked to when I started this diet is that you're going to have low energy, not have, you can have no carbohydrates in your diet. You're just going to suffer when you play football, when you're down the gym and stuff. I did start going to the gym this year, February. You're just going to find it hard. No, the latter. I was full of energy. I had more energy. I could keep going longer than some of them. Yeah, it was great. Love it. There's lots of other great channels you can go and look at. I'll link a few at the bottom. One's from my early days. So Ken Berry, a lot of people know from the Carnivore community. He was, pretty much there at the beginning when this all sort of started. Sean Baker's. You've got Anthony Chafee, who can give you some science behind why we should eat implants. He's great. Steak and Butter Girl has a lot of good information. In the UK, we've got Kent Carnivore. He's one that I've looked at, and there's a few out there if you look at them. And there's so much out there just saying this is the way we should be eating. It's our ancestral way of eating. You think back to our Homo sapien times when they were hunter-gatherers. What they ate was meat. Meat. Kill, whatever they could see, and that's what they would eat. And occasionally, and then I mean occasionally, especially when in season, they might have had some berries and bits. But generally, they ate meat. So yeah, that's my carnivore journey. I hope it's helped you to see that this is the way we should be eating, the carnivore way. And then the other project that I'm hoping to start soon will be a podcast. I'm just trying to find a couple of volunteers to get it going. But this is why I started this channel. The main thing was the podcast. I'm not going to go into too much detail now. I don't want to give away, what I'm thinking of doing. But once I get these two volunteers, I can start filming, and I'm quite excited about it. It's something I've not seen out there in the carnivore community, and it's going to be great. So I hope you enjoy what you're seeing. Please leave a like, leave a comment if you want. I'll try and answer as soon as I can. If you've got any ideas for future things as we get there, put it in there, and hope you can support me by subscribing. And see how things go. But my next episode, I'm going to do a piece on blood pressure, as that's something, of course, relates to myself, and I know a lot of people out there do suffer with blood pressure. Go through some tips, some ways of helping get it low, and some new studies I've seen on helping getting it low. And it's quite interesting. And so thanks again all, and see you on the next one.